have been down at my parents' for 5 days now. Glorious weather for most of it. And this is the first chance I've had to record anything, because this is the first time I've had any time to myself. And this is the ongoing thing of when I come down to my parents, is that I get no time to myself. I'm completely surrounded by people the whole time, except when I'm in the shower, on the toilet or in bed. So I don't get to record stuff. It's been busy as well. So I came down on the Tuesday. On Wednesday we took my dad to the hospital for his operation. On the Thursday we picked him up. We thought we wouldn't be picking him up until the evening, and it turned out to be like mid-morning that we picked him up. Gosh, it's busy. Saturday morning, what am I doing? Coming out on a Saturday. And so he's been back since Thursday. Yesterday was Friday. That was my birthday. So that wasn't really busy. We had been talking about going out, but Dad's obviously recovering from his operation, and I'm not that fussed either way, to be honest with you. So we have stayed in, which is fine by me. I've just been mostly doing admin. One good thing that's happened is I have finally, after 8 months, resolved my universal credit problems, and I'm going to do a separate video on that because it may well be useful to other people, and I can talk through what's happened or whatever. But in any case, so basically universal credit is now resolved. My complaint was responded to, and they have given me money back. And when I do my end of month money audit, which hopefully I can find some time to do fairly soon, because I'm almost at the end of March now, I will add that in there, and you can see what a difference that makes to my income in March. So I don't know what's happening today. The washing machine has gone wrong, so I spent half the morning emptying filters on the washing machine and stuff, because my dad can't crawl around on the floor at the moment. But it turns out that it's not the filter. It looks like the spin cycle has gone on the washing machine. So all drama, all chaos, all go, anything like that sends my mum into a massive tailspin, because she can't cope with change. This morning I am just driving out as an excuse to get out, but also I'm going to a garden centre because I want to try and get some mesh. We have a massive cat problem in the village. There are so many cats, and so many of them are hunters. My mum's a massive cat fan, so she's happy we have all the cats in the garden. But they've also got a bird box up, which just, you know, meals on legs falling out the nest box at fledgling time. And one of them has actually spotted the nest box. None of the others have really been interested in it. And it's a very young, agile cat, and it's worked out how to climb the tree. So I'm off to the garden centre to hopefully pick up some mesh, and we're going to make a tree guard so that the cat can't climb up the tree to the box. It's kind of like a cone, but it's not going to be a cone, if you know what I mean. But it'll stop the cat climbing beyond a certain point, which hopefully will do the job. I did some Googling on it, and there were so many fantastic designs, but most of the tools were in other countries. It just can't be bothered to buy stuff like that. So we're going to make our own, because me and Dad are pretty DIY like. Yesterday we put up the second nest box on another tree out the front. The tree that it normally goes up on was chopped down at the end of last year or the beginning of this year because it was sick, so they haven't had a tree. So they've been waiting for me to come down, and I've helped Dad to put that up. I've done loads of other little tasks since I've got here, trying to just catch up on things, helping my dad set up his new webcam properly because he couldn't work out how to work it properly, and we've been through that and we've sorted that. So me and Dad make a checklist when I come down, all the things we want to get done while I'm down, and then we just work our way through them systematically. And we've been pretty productive the last few days. I don't know what's going on for the rest of my trip down. Tomorrow is Mother's Day, so that day will be sort of taken up, I suppose. It won't be that busy. On the Tuesday, my dad's got to go back to the hospital because he's had some attachments added to his body, so to speak, to help with the healing process for his post-op. And we're going back on Tuesday to have all that out so that he can be completely back to normal. That's going to be a day visit, so I'm going to drop him off at the hospital in the morning and pick him up later in the day when he's done. I'm seeing my old school friend on the Friday. I have double dentist on the Wednesday. It's just a standard trip down, really. Go on. Whee! Plop. Look at that. Perfect. Well, that was quite good fun. I love going to garden centres. If I had loads of money, I'd be buying all sorts of things. I got the wire, which was stupidly overpriced. I got a 10-metre roll, which cost like 26 quid, but I'm not paying for it. I texted my dad, said, I'm not paying for this, it's ridiculously expensive. He said, oh, I'll get it anyway. They don't care. I wanted to buy my dad a cactus. I wanted to buy him a globe. Really difficult. There were two in the whole building. They were tiny and they weren't individual. But I wanted to get myself a cactus, so I brought this little collection of cacti, which I think you can see there. And I'm going to give Dad that one because that's the one he wants, and I'm going to keep these two. So, too much money. And cactus soil we needed. Honestly, everything's so expensive. And it was really busy in there because it's Mother's Day tomorrow, and apparently everybody's in buying things for Mother's Day. So I'm glad to be out of there. This is why I don't go anywhere on the weekends, because everybody else is out and it just drives you mad. Not to worry. I am now going to go home. See what other chaos has ensued while I've been away. And we're done. Today I've come out for a walk. My back started to play up again. I've been sat around too much, and I did some work in the garden yesterday, and that definitely has not helped. So I've come out to stretch my legs. I'm just walking around the local sports field. It's absolutely gorgeous, and the weather's going to be like this, I think, possibly every day for the rest of my visit, and I've got 1 week to go. So I just get to enjoy beautiful countryside, lovely weather, absolutely fantastic. Today is a not doing anything day. I've pretty much ticked off all the to-do lists that me and my dad put together. Tomorrow, Dad's going back in for his first post-op checkup. He's proving to be a very bad patient. He seemed to think that after 5 days of having a reasonably invasive operation that he would be back on his feet and feeling like normal. Doesn't seem to understand that the body takes time to heal. And, you know, he's almost 80, so getting better from things like this takes longer when you get older. Your body doesn't work as fast. So my dad is on blood thinners for arrhythmia, so his blood doesn't fix things quite as quick. So the healing process takes longer, and he's just so impatient because he's frustrated. He wants to be able to go straight back to his normal life. But he had a hip replaced 2 years ago. And he was frustrated where when he got home, you know, he was in, I think, hospital for a few days, and they had him up on his feet, and then they sent him home. And they did a really good job. It's been a really good operation. But he was really frustrated when he came home, and he was having to use one stick for about a week to get around the house just to help. And he was really annoyed at that. He thought we'd be able to walk normally as soon as he came home. He's just such a nightmare. So I had to keep telling him. He seems to think that he's going to be better in days. And I said, look, I've Googled it, and it says it can take a month for the side effects from this to ease up. Anyway, so he can have it out with the doctors when he goes in to see them tomorrow, because I'm fed up of telling him that he's just going to have to be patient and let his body do what it's supposed to do. And he's annoyed because he's now saying, well, I wish I hadn't had the op done. But it wasn't really like he had an option. I mean, he could have not had it done, but it would not have... He would have ended up having to have it done anyway. And you're better to have things done before they get really bad. So, we're having to put up with him moaning all the time about how he thinks he's just never going to get better now because he thinks it's all gone wrong. It's like it's normal. You've had invasive surgery inside your body. Things take time. Honestly. So having to deal with that. But yeah, apart from that, it's all pretty good. It's lovely to be able to hear so much bird life, so I tend to wake up quite early here. I first wake up just as it's getting light, maybe just before, to go to the loo, and by then the cacophony of birdsong outside is deafening. It's incredible, just the sound. There's so many birds singing in the morning, and it's lovely to lay there and listen to. Although it can be hard to get back to sleep again when it's so noisy outside. But it's good noise. It's not like traffic. It's not emergency services racing past the house multiple times a day like it is back home. It's nature, and I'm quite happy to listen to nature all the time. It's the other noises I don't like, the people noises. I'm a nature person, not a people person, and that's the way I've always been. So yeah, there's not an awful lot going on and very little time to record while I'm down, because I don't really have any time to be on my own. The house always has people in it. People don't know that I do YouTube, so if I was like recording stuff for the camera, they'd be asking why and interrupting, and I feel self-conscious recording when people are around. I don't like any of that. So in order to record, I have to be out or on my own, And at the moment that's just when I'm in the car, which isn't very often. I don't tend to drive much when I'm down here unless I'm needed. And getting out and walking like this, which is fine now because the weather's gorgeous. And getting out, I should have got out every day, but I haven't. I just haven't done it. I get a bit lazy. But today I am out, so that's good. Getting fresh air in my lungs and getting my legs moving, getting my steps in. And I haven't really exercised much at all in the last few weeks because I did my back in. And that was, I think, about a week and a half before I came away. So I hadn't really done any exercise in that week and a half before I came away. And since I've been here, my back hasn't been perfect and it doesn't feel so good today. So it's still not completely better. So I'm still having to be careful. So I'm still not doing the kind of exercise that I would normally do. And I feel like I've just felt lazy and unproductive, and I have no idea how much weight I've put on since I stopped the exercising. It'll be like 3 weeks, maybe even close to the month by the time I get home, and we'll be able to start exercising on my treadmill again. And a whole month makes a difference to the calories, the calorie burns, so I fear my weigh-in is not going to be good at the beginning of April. Hey ho, it is what it is. Shame about the plane noise. It's hard to be anywhere away from airports these days. Look at that gorgeous blue sky. Right, I'm going to head home. I may come out for another walk this afternoon if the weather's like this. Fantastic. Today's Friday. It's another glorious day. Today I'm meeting my old school friend who I meet every time I come down here. Usually we get in a couple of meets, sadly not this time because of everything that's been going on with my dad. And I'm really pleased to be getting out today because it's been a constant source of frustration for me. So I took my dad into the hospital for his op, brought him home. He's had to have a catheter in for a week, which I don't think I mentioned before. Just a week, it's just to help the recovery, make things a little bit easier. But what me and Mum didn't realise is that he came back with a booklet of information and things that he must do to aid in that recovery. And they gave him advice, which he has ignored. And he put the instruction booklet into a file and left it and didn't follow any of the information, which explained the problems he might have with the catheter over the week, which is that they do have a habit of leaking a bit and they can be a bit painful. And also the most important thing he must do is drink water. Because the reason my dad's got into this situation, which is that he has had bladder stones removed, is because he doesn't drink any water. And that was the most important advice that they gave him for the week of recovery. He needs to drink 2 to 3 litres of water a day, which is what I drink every day, and it's what you should all drink every day. Because what happens if you don't is that the urine becomes very concentrated in your bladder, and it crystallises and it turns into bladder stones, which can only be removed surgically. So that's why we're in this situation. So for that first week, he has not drunk water. We didn't realise he had to. He drinks a little bit of water, but he only drinks like 2 small cups a day. So when he went back to have the catheter removed, he failed all the health tests to have it removed because he was chronically dehydrated. He was still drinking caffeine while he had the catheter in, which apparently he's not supposed to because he didn't read the information. And so what happened is they kept him in all day trying to get his system to function properly again on its own, and it wouldn't because he has no water in him. And they couldn't tell if his bladder was functioning normally again. So they've had to put another catheter in and send him home for another 7 days. And since then, because when he came out the second time, I had to go up and collect him from the room because he was so tired and so disorientated and not listening to anything they were telling him. So I had to go and get him. And so since he's been home, it's been a constant battle to get him to basically just drink water. I've had to nag him all day. He's got a 1 litre bottle. He just needs to drink 2 of them every day. And the first day was a battle. The second day he seems to have accepted the idea of drinking water. Today it's now 11:30 and I've come out and he hasn't drunk a thing. He's got his next appointment at the hospital on Tuesday, which means I am going to be going home with this unresolved because my dad was like, well, just stay an extra week. Do you not understand how other people's lives work? I can't just take 3 weeks off to look after you when I live 5 hours away and I have jobs. I have to earn money. I have to live my life. My mum isn't really capable of helping him in the same way I can. And so I've just walked up a really steep hill. The hill goes down there. It doesn't look it from here, but it's quite steep. And I'm trying to talk to you at the same time. So basically I'm going home and he goes back in to have hopefully the catheter removed the day after I go home. But if he doesn't follow the rules, he will end up having it in for another week. And he just doesn't, he refuses to follow the advice. It's not putting him out. He's sitting around all day anyway. He's not doing anything at home. Just drink water. It's because he doesn't want to have to go to the toilet. He just can't be bothered. And the only person he's hurting is himself. I don't understand. It's like trying to get a child to eat their vegetables. It makes no sense. Why would you want to slow up your recovery? And his only response is, well, I wish I'd never had this operation done now. They've done something wrong. If he hadn't have had it done, the capacity in his bladder got smaller and smaller and smaller. And with bladder stones, you can end up with a proper infection in there, and you can get sepsis, and sepsis can kill. So my dad would rather have died than have this done. He's just so unreasonable. He's stubborn. He pushes back. And for what? He's the only one that's suffering. It's just, oh my God. So I'm glad I've come out today. I've got one day away. And me and my friend are going to go out for a nice walk in the beautiful weather we have today. It's 19 degrees today. And it is absolutely stunning. I'm so pleased to be out today. I need that break. And I've got the weekend before I go home, and I think I'm going to have to go out and do walks and enjoy the weather as well, because staying in and being frustrated at my dad is not helpful. And all my mum does is worry and just stands there and looks at him and doesn't say anything. So it's incredibly frustrating that I'm going to be going home and he's not going to follow the advice, and it's going to run into all sorts of problems because he just wants to be stubborn. Why would you do that? The hospital's really good. This is his third operation with the hospital. He had his hip replaced there 2 years ago and a hernia, and he needs another hernia before they go away on holiday in July. And he's just ruining it all. I don't know why he's now thinking that the hospital aren't any good just because he doesn't think he's recovered fast enough. He seemed to think that he would come home from the hospital with this catheter in and he was going to be able to go off and do stuff. We were going to go out for lunch for my birthday and things like that, which obviously wasn't going to happen, but he seemed to think that everything would just tick along as before. Catheters are a pain in the backside, they really are, especially the temporary ones, because they're not designed to be installed for long periods of time. You can only wear them for 7 days. So they do have a habit of leaking a bit. You're walking around with a bag of wee strapped to your leg, which is not nice. And but you just get on with it. It's an aid to recovery. It's a good thing. And for some reason he wants to be stuck on this thing forever. It's just so frustrating. And of course the other thing is that if he doesn't keep drinking the water regularly after this is all over, he will get more bladder stones. So this is going to be a battle for life. I was going to get him one of those motivational water bottles that has the hours on it and the sip amount, so you can sip every hour. But I know he won't use it because he'd rather be ill. Just had to get that out of my system. It's so frustrating. It's just so frustrating. So if you don't drink much water, please do, because it could cause all sorts of problems for you down the line. It can take time to get used to it as a habit. It took me a while, but I've been doing it now for 2 or 3 years, and I don't even think about it now. I go everywhere with my water bottle. My energy is better, my brain is more alert, I sleep better. It's not just a case of hydration, because hydration is linked to everything you do. It's linked to your whole body. So much of your body is made of water. Why would you not replace the water? But some of us don't care about our health, clearly. And I'm just annoyed, just so annoyed. Anyway, so I'm going to go and meet my friend, have a lovely day, get some of this pent-up energy out of my system, and we're going to go and put the world to rights. I'm going to leave you with this beautiful scenery, and I shall catch you again soon. post this video, I know, has been almost entirely revolved around my dad, and in fact this video represents 2 weeks. The entire time I've been down south helping with my dad. I should have gone home yesterday, but Dad was due to have his final checkup to have this catheter removed this morning. So I had kind of offered, and then Dad at the last minute accepted, for me to drop him at the hospital on the way out, and then I would go home from there, and then either someone would collect him or we'd get a cab back from the hospital. But things have not worked out like that, and instead at 1 o'clock this morning he was taken into A&E. Long story short, basically, we kind of know what's happened, but we're not entirely sure of the update. It's now, what time? What's the time? It's 20 to 10 now, and I am now heading home. I've had to go. I moved the cleaning that I was supposed to do today during the day, but I can't shift everything this week. I've got a clean this evening I have to do. I have a clean tomorrow which I have to do. I have a clean tomorrow evening which I have to do, and then I have the clean that I've moved from Tuesday now on Thursday. And it's really frustrating because I've left my parents, leaving my dad in a worse condition than when I found him. I don't know whether what's gone wrong is the fault of the surgeon. My dad seems to think it is. I don't know it is. I think there are all sorts of other contributing factors. The reason they decided to take him into an A&E was because he'd suddenly started bleeding really heavily, and we think we know why, but the problem is that because he's on his blood thinners, he doesn't heal fast enough. So they were going to take him into the hospital to give him whatever it is that reverses the blood thinners, so that his body will naturally block up this bleed quicker. He's not on warfarin. He used to be, but he's not anymore. I can't remember the name of the one he's on, begins with R. And apparently when they give the reverser on this one, it works immediately, whereas warfarin takes 48 hours. So they had him in A&E, and they were going to let him go this morning, and Dad was like, well, if they let me out early enough, you can take me down to the hospital for me to get seen for my 10 o'clock appointment. That hasn't happened. They then changed their minds and decided, I think they've put him up on a ward and they want to do some more tests and just check things. I haven't spoken to him. Mum has. She said he sounds really weak and really tired, and of course he does. He's had no sleep, he's lost blood, he's probably dehydrated, really stressed. He was having panic attacks last night because of the pain and because of all this blood that suddenly pretty much came out of nowhere. And that's the second panic attack I've seen him have since I've been down. And Dad's not like that. He's pretty solid pretty much, but like most of us on my dad's side of the family, he's a bit of a control freak, and when things don't go as planned, it tends to go a bit all over the place. So he was getting very panicky, and I know I'm rambling now, I'm so tired. The ambulance came at 1 o'clock. They were really good. They were pretty fast. He had a consultation over the phone with the NHS 111 people from about 9:30. He chatted to an initial lady who I suppose works like a triage, and then she got an out of hours GP to call him, and they arranged for the ambulance, and they came really quick. It was really good, and I think he felt slightly less panicky once he was with the professionals rather than me and Mum, who don't really know what we're doing. So once they'd gone, I think I probably got to bed about 1:30. Couldn't sleep, I was so wired, just couldn't shut down. Mum, I think, went to bed about 2. I may have got to sleep around 2:30, 3 o'clock. And the phone rang just after 5 o'clock. Dad was calling Mum from the hospital to give her an update, and I heard the phone, and basically that was it. So I've had about 3 hours sleep, and now I'm driving home north, which is going to be about 4.5 hours. Journey time looks pretty good. So that's it. I'm going home with nothing resolved and everything actually a lot worse. Hopefully this is not a permanent problem we've ended up with, and it's a blip in the recovery works, complicated by age and other drugs and all sorts of things. The op he's had is not a nice one. It's not one that you fly through with no problems. I think my dad thought he would, because the previous 2 ops he's had with that hospital, he flew through no problems, and I think he thought this was going to be a breeze as well, and it most definitely is not. So that's where we are. So I'm heading home, and I've got to go and do a clean after 6 o'clock tonight. Should only take me about an hour and a half. The businesses wanted me back in as soon as possible, because God forbid they should clean their own toilets for a couple of weeks, you know. I don't know. And this is why I don't like being tied to like a regular job, so to speak, because when things like this happen, it's so difficult for me to be able to be useful. So if I had not been doing these cleaning jobs, I could have stayed and helped collect my dad from the hospital, helped look after him, helped him get to his next appointment and all that sort of thing. But I can't do that now. And, you know, I'm a 5-hour drive away, so none of this is now easy. And my dad has not been an easy patient to manage over the last couple of weeks. And I treat it as a sign of potential things to come, you know. My mum says he never does what he's told, he always thinks he's right, and it makes it very difficult to manage him, so to speak. He doesn't like taking advice. Oh dear. And when it comes to your health, you really need to take the advice. So home we go, and I'm gonna end this video here. It's been all over the place, and I know it's probably not been very interesting for many of you, but you're just going to have to put up with it, because this is what the last 2 weeks of my life have been. And when I do the week in the life videos, you get my week in the life. Man, oh man. So that's it. I'm going to sign off, and see you on the next one. Hope you're having a better week than me.